And welcome to Presgram RMC, Presgram Gospel Time Show. Yeah, super nice, super nice. I want you to get a good shot of that ring there. Get that ring back in there again. Get that ring back in there again for all my young folks. That is what a championship ring looks like from the Super Bowl. And of course, it belongs to my great engineer, Pac-10 at that, you understand? For all my young super giants out there, high school, college, wherever you are, elementary school, this is what it looks like. My guest today is a super talented brother, a brother that is no stranger to me and, of course, to the industry of radio. I speak of none other than The Rock. Rock, what's going on, brother?
You giving me too much, man. You know, I'm just out here trying to make it.
Oh, brother,
happen, that's all.
Brother, listen here, man. You are an inspiration for a lot of brothers and, of course, for a lot of young people. Tell us, man, listen, over the years as you've come into the business of radio and to engineering, how did you ever get into the field of radio and broadcasting?
Well, after my football career, I basically started, I was bodyguard for a while, and I was always in the studio.
Okay.
And so always being in the studio, the engineers were like, you're always just sitting there watching everybody else. Why don't you sit here and learn something? So, I decided to sit in with a couple engineers. His name was Anthony. He was engineer for Puffy.
Okay.
He's a great engineer. And a couple of the engineers. And I started learning while I was waiting.
Wow.
Dividing my time with working with the artists that I was working with, and then just, learning how to track. So the more I was tracking different artists, they felt comfortable because I was always there.
Okay.
I'll spend weeks in the studio, different studios. So like anything else, artists feel comfortable when they see you all the time.
True.
So working in the studio, I started learning. So sometimes artists would ask me, hey, can you track me? No problem. So I started tracking. It means recording, so, small portions of it. And then a head engineer would sit there and chop it up and do what he had to do. So from that, I said, I can do this. I come from a background of music. All my family was all into music.
Okay.
They were, performers, musicians, and singers. But I never knew, I never tried to sing. That wasn't my thing.
Can you sing?
I don't know. I never tried. I didn't try to step on that end of it. But I needed to find something else to do with my life. I spent 15 years in the Marine Corps.
That's a good man right there.
Bodyguard for a while, and wanted to find something else to do with my life. So I started learning more and more on my own, watching YouTube videos and watching other artists. And then some engineers, I started learning how to do live engineering by going out with one engineer, we call him Wedo. And he said, you want to learn? Come here and I'll teach you. So I came, he sat me down, he said, look, we're going to do a show. I need you to go to the stage. When we break down stuff, you're going to start picking up chords, breaking down things. So I started breaking down the instruments, breaking down this. Then he taught me how to set up the instruments at different shows. So I got thrown in there live. Mm-hmm. No knowledge, just live. Just go in there and learn it. You're going to learn, you're going to sink, you're going to swim or sink. And then I got sent, after a year doing that, I got sent inside the warehouse for a year.
Okay.
And I was like, why am I in a warehouse? He's going to learn how to break this stuff down. If it's broken, you're going to learn how to repair it. Because when you're out there and you're working with other people and your show goes down, they don't want to know why it went down, just get it back working.
Exactly.
So I had to learn how to repair it. From then, I started working with other churches. I got to work with Bethel AME and Bryan Temple AME and other big churches, and started doing sound and little stuff for them, filling in for their engineers sometimes when they had to take a break. And working with Bethel, they had a live show at KJLH. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And so the pastor asked me, he said, can you help us produce a show and take it in? No problem. So I recorded them and took their shows in at KJLH. And started, dropping off the show. So one day I saw they had interns. So I said, look, I'm close to 40 years old, but I would like to intern here. Okay, are you in school? Yes, I'm taking, some college courses, FCC courses. Okay, no problem. So they brought me in. While I was there, Andre, Greg Johnson, Lon McHugh, all took a liking to me and said, hey, you want to learn something else? So I started to learn everything. And I sat down with a guy named Barry Clark, who was the engineer there. Mm-hmm. And Barry started showing me engineering side of it, not just the board and learn how to do sound, but the back end of it that you get paid from,
which is important.
building a radio station. And from there, I learned, I met a guy that works with him who's actually the guy that runs this station. His name is Johnny Morris.
That's it.
I mean, this dude is ridiculous when it comes to running radio. And from there, I work with Johnny at KTYM, here at RMC Studios, KJLH, and other places. And I've been doing sound for the last 10, 12 years now. I also DJ. But the thing is, like, you never stop learning as things go by.
That's true.
And I try to teach my daughters the same thing. I teach them how to do the same thing, because if your job fails, if anything fails, you have something to fall back on.
Got to have a backup.
Always have to have a backup. And
my engineer. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Because this brother here, he's so awesome.
But everything started with working in the church. And the best engineers are engineers that work in the church because they learn how to work on the fly.
That's true.
Because you know how church goes. Anything can happen at any time, and they'll change up things in a minute. So,
The Rock, my engineer right here on Presgram Gospel Time. And, of course, Kiki is away, her and her dad, Mike. Johnny's away here in Crystal. And I wanted to have The Rock because Rock and I have been together for a long time. And, of course, as before said, at the little Intrepid radio station in Inglewood, California, KTYM. And it makes old folks like me look back and say, well, hey, there is somebody that's really coming along now that can handle it. You understand? Because having that experience that I had back in the 60s, when I went to school in 65, of course, technology wasn't as advanced as it is now. And to see what it is now, they need younger minds, you understand, because it's been so long since I've been into the game. Matter of fact, they even had, I think 78s were going out when I started in the game. So you know how long that's been, 78s and 33 1/3, high fidelity. But however, man, listen, for all of the young brothers out there, and we opened up with your Super Bowl, your championship ring from the Super Bowl, what would you say to young brothers that do not have a direction and a purpose in their life right now as far as education is concerned, and they see your ring, and then plus you have, I believe, a couple rings with Denver, right?
yes.
So therefore, when they see you, you can hear about other role models, you can hear about other athletes that have jewelry, etc., and so forth, but to see a brother face to face, hand to hand, what would you say to brothers that need that encouragement about getting an education?
I think I'll go back to my wife. She told me that I need to set goals. Okay. Everyone has to have goals. You know where you want to go in life, but anything can happen at any time. That can fail you. So you have to have a backup. Education is the best backup with anything, because when you go out to get educated and to get an education, you're going to find a path, and the path might lead you in different directions, but you always have a resource that's going to fill you. It's like a cup that's empty. It's going to fill you with something. And when you have that backup and things fail you, you can say, my life is not over. I have something else I can fall back and say, it's going to make money. It's going to bring food to the table. It's going to bring substance to my household. Without that, you're lost.
True.
Just like without having church in your life, you're lost, because that goes hand in hand. Education, health, and God all goes in one. If you have all that together, you'll be okay. But you, with anything else, you have to have an education. I see a lot of young brothers out here every day hustling. It's no problem hustling. I hustle every day.
Okay.
But I hustle in a different way. I hustle by finding a job.
Okay.
Nothing comes to you easy.
That's so
this
true.
easy life goes like that.
I agree.
So you have to have an education more than anything else. A lot of sometimes college is not for everyone.
That's true.
But get you an education in something. You might not go to college, but get trained in something. You might go to trade school. You might take a trade from someone that's teaching you. There's a guy the other day wanted to teach me how to do radios, as far as walkie-talkies, and learn how to do that. It's still a trade.
That's right.
Learn a trade. If you don't want to get educated at a university or college, learn a trade. Because back in the days, even back to the biblical days, everyone had a trade. Everyone. If you don't have a trade, you're just a person on the street living.
That's so true.
Barely doing that.
When I was coming along, we called them crafts. You must have a craft other than, shooting squirrels and hunting fish and all this other stuff here, picking up pecans. I came from the country, you understand? So I had to find something to make my whole life complete, because I knew I wasn't going to be, skinning squirrels all my life and skinning rabbits and putting deer in smokehouses and this kind of madness here. So then I decided to pray about it. Thank God for the university that did give me a shot, and then the rest became history. And then the Flip Wilson Show, and then Sanford, and then Bell Television. And it goes on and on and on and on and on and on. But then when I see a young brother like you that's very gifted, very talented, super smart. You're hanging around the eighth wonder of the world, Stephen Judkins Morris, a.k.a. Stevie Wonder. And then Johnny Morris, you understand. It's a blessing. And then to have you here as my engineer today, and you've been with me at KTYM. It's more than a blessing. And I don't say that because we're being seen around the world. I say this because it's true, and I've told you the same thing, is because you possess what a lot of young brothers desire to have. They don't know how to get it. For instance, would you be willing to train young brothers or sisters in doing what you're doing?
That's a good question, because I just spoke to someone the other day and I was getting to that. She said to a job and a career. I don't like saying job because anybody can have a job. A career. Always find something that you love and is passionate about. It doesn't matter if you're passionate. She told me a story about the guy that was passionate about tires. He showed her the tires, what the tires. She said, "You're passionate about that. Find out there's other people that are passionate about that. You can make money off of that and teach people how to be passionate about what you're passionate about, and it grows like a network, and you learn how to make a money off of that." So my thing is, I want to one day have a station where, say this room right here, we have 5 or 6 of these, and I teach kids how to run those stations, because web TV and web radio is where we're going to now, so we can reach people all over the world. So now they're not just confined to just working in one studio. They can work here and televised all over the world. And a lot of times nowadays, I mean, people are making they're being found in our society and as a celebrity status off of YouTube and Twitter and these other things, Instagram, but mostly YouTube, because they're doing their own stuff. They're not waiting to go out there and say, I'm an actor. No, they're selling things, they're acting, they're personalities from YouTube, and they're doing it on their own. That's why the record business, a lot of the record labels are not selling like they used to.
That's true.
Or they're not distributing like they used to, because people are doing it on their own. We don't need those to do what we can do. So I just want to build a place where they can learn how to do it and let them go on their own and do what they want to do. Give them the vehicle to get where they need to get what they want to do.
The Rock, our guest here on Presgram Gospel Time and Presgram Radio. And I'm ecstatic about the fact that The Rock is here, because The Rock possesses that talent, that gift that we people darker than blue, known as black especially, we need this plus in our lives, you understand? And when I see a young talented brother, young talented engineer, a man that possessed the jewelry, that he can back behind the jewelry, you understand? That's the whole key right there, is having that jewelry, Rock. Now that you are here, now that you are The Rock outside of pro ball, how did you feel when you went into pro ball? I wanted to find out about that.
I started, when I came, I was born in Belize, and my dad's from Samoa. So mostly I played rugby. When I got to high school, I played football, basketball, baseball, and swimming. I was always in the sports, but I had a 3.8 grade point average when I graduated. Because my grandma didn't have it. You're going to get your education. And so when I went through, playing college ball, I played at El Camino, I played at West, but I finished at El Camino, and then I transferred after I joined the Marine Corps. They basically wanted me to stay in school. So to be picked up and to be able to be go to the NFL, to me, I didn't care where I went. I was just ecstatic to go. I can still remember my first game today, and I get goosebumps thinking about it.
Really?
The cheering and the people, and just putting on the uniform, able to step out to the field, and it's like, oh man, I got to go back because I got to go use the bathroom. My stomach's feeling bad, and it's like you're excited, and I had to settle down and think of it just like another high school game or another college game, and just say, okay, this is just a game.
Really?
And take that in. And I got injured my second year, but I didn't let that down. I still wanted to play ball. I did some other things, but I still played ball. And until the time I said, you know what, it's time for me to get this up. I think I played another 8 years, some indoor, arena football, and some semi-pro with the LA Avengers and with the Blackhawks, our Inglewood Blackhawks here.
Okay.
And so it's just that there was one time in my life I said, I got up in the morning, my body's hurting. I'm like, yeah, it's time for me to let this go. Just let it go and be with the family and deal with the family and say, okay, I need to, move on to something else in my life. And So I don't even think about it. So if you wouldn't have brought it up, I probably wouldn't have even thought about it.
Really?
I don't think about what I did before because I look back. I look toward what I'm doing now.
Okay.
And like somebody told me before, it's like if you always look back in the mirror, you're going to miss what's coming forward.
That's right. That's so true.
And a lot of times people look back and, I did this and I did that and I did this, but that doesn't amount to anything right now. What are you doing right now? You know? At the end of the day, when I die, what have I done to make this world better? Even if it's one person, I make them smile or make them, or have the ability to let them do something with their life. Mm-hmm. That's what God puts us here for, to help our man. And I think I spoke to you when you came in. I said, I want to be like you one day. You said, you know. But the thing is longevity. And if a lot of these youngsters look toward people, not someone that's doing something now, someone that's been doing something for a while. Mm-hmm. Because longevity means that you have accomplished what you have to accomplish.
Wow.
Become a stable person in society and keep that. And that's what feeds the table. It's not what you can feed now. It's what you can feed for eternity.
Good point.
Correct. And so it's like they need to find someone that's stable and someone that has longevity in whatever they're doing.
You're kind.
You know?
You're kind, brother. You're kind. I want to be like this guy here. He told me he want to be like me, huh? An old man, right?
Hey, a lot of people don't get to be an old man. If that's what you want to call yourself. A lot of people don't get there.
Really?
No, they don't.
The Rock. Only The Rock. Now, this is coming from The Rock right here, okay? At RMC, Presgram Radio, Presgram Gospel Time. All these communications, we'll be back with our guests in just a minute, brought to you by Roscoe's. And, of course, at RMC, we are ecstatic about the fact of having RMC. And we want to say thank you to the public, because it had not been for you and your patronizing Roscoe's all 39 years, almost 40 years. I remember so well in 1975 when I first started telling people about chicken and waffles. And my mother, God bless her soul, she's gone now. And my mother was one of the worst critics of the world. She said, boy, if you think it's going to work. I said, yes, ma'am, it's going to work. Chicken and waffles. She said, I've never seen a breakfast and a dinner food together. I said, well, Mama, it's going to work. Mama, it's going to work. And now, 39 years later, when the world laughed at 1514 North Gower in Hollywood, and now it is spreading from 1514 in Gower, which is Sunset in Gower, 1514, all the way down to Disneyland. I mean, went to Pasadena, went to Watts, went to Midwest Los Angeles here, went down to LAX, went to Long Beach, and just kept traveling, and now it has made it all the way down to Disneyland. Now 7 locations, Roscoe's, and not only that, the only energy drink approved by the U.S. Armed Forces and for the government, that is Pitbull energy drinks. And all these communications, Roscoe's is the place to feed your face and find all of this. So had not it been for you, RMC would have never come about. And notice what it says, RMC, okay? And RMC is none other than, what else? Roscoe's Media Center. And, of course, we are honored that Johnny Morris and myself and Deanna and Mike and Rock and Charmaine, we all make this possible. And all the other great artists you'll have here, like Bishop Don Juan and so many other great celebrities that are here. Alvin McKinney and the list, and Crystal Davis Wells, who's come aboard, and just a wonderful air personality. Melissa, she's here, and so many great personalities are here at RMC Studios, and we're grateful. In behalf of the old man, Double H, I can certainly say that thank you so kindly for your 39 years of patronizing Roscoe's, and because of you, that we're going to keep going and giving you great chicken and waffles, and of course RMC Studios. I'm Prez Blackman. Our guest today on Presgram Gospel Time is, should I say, Pac-10 Super Bowl champion, engineer, The Rock. Rock is here himself.
I just like to say husband and father.
Husband and father? That's a good thing. That's a good thing. You know, I mean, when Prez and Nikki was growing up, I did the same. I took Prez everywhere I go. I guess that's why he became a singer instead of a radio announcer, because when I was president of my choir, you know, I would always have him, you know, with his Enfamil and his Pampers and Johnson baby powder. Everywhere I went, wherever church, concert, I took Prez everywhere I went. You know, then when Nikki was born, then we had to share. You understand? And then the rest is now history. And, of course, they're both fine kids, and I love them dearly. Most of all of my productions, you always catch my children involved, because that's what it's all about,
right.
Is, letting them know that there's a positive side because there are so many parents that do not present a positive side to their children, and which is excruciating as it is. Listen, speaking of NFL, I wanted to get your point on a situation that occurred just a few weeks ago, the Ray Rice situation. What do you think about that as a former NFL player yourself?
I think I look at it as it's an incident. I mean, the man should never put his hands on a woman. We don't know. I don't know exactly everything that happened. I don't condone you putting your hands on a woman, but there are instances where, I mean, as people, things happen between husband and wife. It's always history. That's how it is. But they both need to get help because there had to be a reason why he put his hands on her, and there had to be a reason why he, it was like she did what she did to have him. We don't know what happened between it. There was a lot of things said that happened before that to get to that point. I think the NFL, they took what they took control of what they had to do at the time. They tried to, cover it because they didn't want it, put out there in the public in the line life. But it happens. I mean, there's been a lot of football players I know that things like that happen to them. And at the end of the day, society sees it as, when it's brought to light, it's seen as a bad thing. When no one said, when people see it and don't say anything about it, that's when it's wrong, But I think they both need help. They both need to seek counsel for that, I mean, if they want to stay married, regardless of what football, is part of it, let him go back to playing ball, but have some stipulations to it, because I don't think that should be a factor of him playing sports. Okay. His off life and what he does outside, shouldn't affect what he does on the field. I mean, if he conducts himself on the field as a good standing citizen, and he takes, say, okay, I'm going to take counseling for this because I have a problem, just like alcohol, just like drugs. We all have our issues. But if we're willing to fix it in society's life, give him a second chance, say, hey, like anybody, I mean, I hate when people, okay, if you go into jail, that doesn't make you a bad person.
True.
Give you the opportunity to make yourself better. Because like all of us, I mean, look in the Bible, God never used anyone that was squared away. Everybody had issues. So take that and say, hey, now he can be a spokesman if he gets counseling to what problems are. And, he can say, oh, this is what I had in my life. This is what happened. Everybody knows what happened in my life. So how can you fix that? And be a spokesman to people that, have gone through that thing, that same thing. Because, I mean, growing up in the hood, we all know being black. We go through some things. Our women can take us. Yeah. But you have to have control.
That's so true.
And if you get to the point where you have to put your hands on your woman or your wife or your girlfriend or your fiance, you don't need to be with that person.
I agree. 100%. I stone give you 100% because it doesn't, both parties lose.
Yes.
And eventually it's going to wind up in a situation where death becomes involved. And we pray that it never gets to that point. And when it gets to that point, where is that, you got to domestically and physically, address me without addressing me verbally. You understand? You can call me every name on the planet. But now when you start physically addressing me, that's a whole different ball game. The line has to be drawn somewhere. Right. You understand?
Right.
And somebody has to draw the line. Because as we know, there's a former NFL superstar that is right now is going through unnecessary crap. You understand? Only if they had listened. You understand? And it does no one any good. Domestic violence is not the ticket. Never will be the ticket in any situation because both parties lose. You understand? One may have the freedom. One may be incarcerated.
Well, as I see it in the NFL, I mean, they're looking toward it now. I think, just like being in the military, a lot of these football players have PTSD because you're out there running 60 miles an hour and getting hit. It's like being hit by a car, and you're taking licks to the head. A lot of these guys are hurt, injured, and mentally messed up.
True.
Over these years, it might have started in college, but they're mentally messed up. And I think counseling for all NFL players is a must. Because they go to drinking, go to drugs. A lot of them that never was on any drugs after they get out, they have to take a lot of drugs to deal with the pain.
Right.
And that affects them, their body, their mind. And then they deal with, okay, I'm not making the money like I used to. It affects them mentally. They're not the same way anymore. And they get to the point where, you have a wife we don't have money for this. They go through a lot of pressure. It's not an excuse, but they need help because now they can't deal with society. Just like a person that was in the military. Mm-hmm. It's the same thing. Mm-hmm. It's the same thing. So,
engineers,
Mike
is back from Vegas, huh? That's a good thing.
So it's the same thing. They have to deal with this stuff, and because they do, they need counseling. They need counseling because we don't know what the guy was going through. We don't know what's going on in his head. We don't know how he is. So I don't condone it, but help him. As one black man to another black man, help him. And a lot of the football players that played with him and ones that didn't play with him, they were saying the same thing. They don't condone it, but you need to help him out. Because from what I heard, he was a great guy on the field. He has some issues with his wife, but they were going through things. But we're not in his life. We don't know what he's going through behind closed doors at home.
That's so true.
That's a lot. You can't get away from when you're at home with your wife. You can't get away from that. Unless you go out and say, "I'm going to go out the door." You got to wake up to her. You got to go to sleep to her. You got to deal with her every day. So he needs help.
Our guest today on Presgram Gospel Time has been the exciting college pro superstar, The Rock. Rock, man, thank you today for being on Presgram Gospel Time. Thank you for being my engineer.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for shedding light. For anyone that wanted to contact you, how can they find you?
You can reach me on Facebook at DJ Rock or Rock Radio Free Rock, and you can find me on Instagram at Rock Magnum, and you can contact me at KJLH at KJLHradio.com. Wow. And you can also find me here at RMC Studios. Actually, every Wednesday I have a show from 10 to 12 called The Get Down.
Okay.
With Pretty Ricky and Nene Nice. You can check that out Wednesdays from 10 at night to 12 p.m.
Our guest today has been The Rock. I'm Prez Blackman. And remember this, it's always good in having you here with us on Presgram Gospel Time because at Presgram Radio, join me Saturday night, midnight on the station KTYM AM 1460 Radio. And, of course, Sunday mornings from 10 to 11:30, Sunday afternoons 1 to 4. From all of us here at RMC Studios, remember this, America, what you are is God's gift to you. What you do with yourself is your gift to God. Make sure it's good. Most people go to a beauty shop for a facelift. Stop by Jesus' house and get a faith lift. Until then, 168 hours in the future. Remember, Betty, for you in Tennessee, thank you. Georgia, for you in Arkansas, as you guys get ready for the reunion. And for you and all my good friends over in Buffalo, New York, I love you. Blessings to you. Until then, I will see you Saturday night, midnight on KTYM AM 1460. For Mr. Hudson, for Keno, and for all of us here, Clive Jackson down front with Bistro, I want to say to you, I love you, God bless you, and let's have a great remaining year. Until then.